Mark, are you shocked by that statistic? 70% of students sexually harassed. That's amazing.
Well, Andrew, for my troubles today, I actually read the report from the National Union of Students. And John Barron there, he was the ABC fact checker. No wonder he's no longer doing that job, because if he checked the facts of this report, he'd be horrified at the lack of credibility. And as for Jane Gilmore, she's obviously not read the report, because to look at it is to see no analysis or explanation from the NUS Women's Department as to how the survey was conducted. But you go into it and you find out it had about 1,300 women filled out the survey form. More than 50% were from just 3 universities, Melbourne, New South Wales, Tasmania, so you're sensing an element of selectivity here. 50% of the respondents identified themselves as queer, and another 10% as gender diverse. I'm not too sure that's a cross-section of sexuality in Australia's universities today. 73% reported some form of sexual harassment in their lives overall, but this included things outside the university. Barron and his cohort gave the impression the 70% figure related to universities alone.
Absolutely.
It includes all aspects of like...
Mark, he said it. He painted this picture of all these people with these raging hormones coming into the university, hands free and wobbly. I mean, it was incredible.
Well, we're paying for this. The national broadcaster, the survey included work, home, overseas, pubs, shops, sexual harassment, and in fact only 20% of the incidents occurred in university spaces. University spaces, that is, in the classes and the library. Now, among the 73% recorded, and at this stage it's lost just about all credibility, we find out the most prevalent form of so-called harassment was staring. Staring at the women involved. Yeah, 53% said some blokes stared at me. Now, nature's...
was there a definition there? What's the difference between a glance and a stare? Do they give seconds or...?
No, there's nothing that rigorous, but, nature's given us the habit, for most people, of admiring the looks of an attractive person, normally of the opposite sex. Well, apparently that's now defined as some form of sexual harassment in the survey. Now, surprise, surprise, it's the only...
you have to be looking at someone looking at you in order to... who's harassing who?
Good question. Very good question. But there's no surprise in the fact that Gillian Triggs has used this as the only piece of statistical evidence to justify her own Human Rights Commission inquiry into so-called sexual harassment in the university sector, and undoubtedly Triggs, who's lost all credibility herself, will end up with a report as unbelievable as this piece of rubbish. As unbelievable as this rubbish, it's inevitable as night follows day that Triggs will end up with something as trumped up and exaggerated as the National Union of Students.